Torrential rains battered Davao City, triggering one of the most widespread urban floods in recent memory. By dawn, over 265 areas across the city were inundated, forcing evacuations, paralyzing traffic, and reigniting urgent debates about infrastructure, climate adaptation, and governance. The rain began around 2:30 a.m., intensifying rapidly due to a stalled low-pressure system interacting with the southwest monsoon. Pagasa issued a heavy rainfall advisory by 3:15 a.m., but for many residents, the warning came too late. By 4 a.m., water levels in the Talomo and Matina rivers had breached critical thresholds, spilling into low-lying barangays such as Matina Aplaya, Talomo proper, Bangkal, and Panji. "I woke up to the sound of rushing water," said 47-year-old Esnara Sadikal, a resident of Barangay Talomo proper. "It wasn't just rain. It was like the river had come alive and swallowed the streets." The City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, CDRRMO, reported over 3,200 households affected, 1,150 individuals evacuated to temporary shelters, 265 zones classified as severely flooded, 12 barangays declared under a state of calamity, power outages in 9 districts due to submerged substations, at least 23 injuries, including 4 cases of hypothermia and 2 near drownings. In Barangay Matina Crossing, floodwaters reached chest level by 5 a.m. Rescue teams deployed rubber boats and improvised rafts to extract stranded families. "We had to carry a newborn baby above our heads while wading through waist-deep water," said volunteer rescuer Jomar Reyes. According to Pagasa meteorologist Dr. Selena Ramos, the flood was caused by a convergence of meteorological and hydrological factors. A stalled low-pressure system intensified by southwest monsoon winds, saturated soil from previous rains, reducing absorption capacity, overflowing tributaries from Bukidnon and North Cotabato feeding into Davao's rivers, high tide coinciding with peak rainfall, exacerbating backflow in coastal areas. "This was a perfect storm of conditions," Ramos explained. "The Talomo and Matina rivers are already vulnerable due to urban encroachment and sediment buildup. Add intense rainfall and tidal pressure, and you get a flash flood scenario. Many areas lack proper storm drains, and existing systems are clogged with debris." In Barangay Carmen, residents reported water rising within 30 minutes due to blocked culverts. Despite 62 flood mitigation projects since 2022, coordination remains weak. Councillor Alberto Ungab noted that efforts are reactive and siloed. "We need an interagency task force that doesn't just respond, but plans, anticipates, and integrates," he said. Davao City's rivers receive water from neighboring provinces. Without upstream control, the city remains vulnerable. "We manage the exit, but not the entrance," Ungab emphasized. In Matina Gravahan, buried logs from past logging operations surfaced during erosion episodes, damaging flood dikes. This highlights the hidden risks embedded in the city's geological history. By 6 a.m., the city activated its incident command system. Evacuation centers were opened in schools, gyms, and churches. Relief packs were distributed, and mobile clinics set up to treat minor injuries and waterborne illnesses. Mayor Sebastian Duterte declared a citywide state of calamity by 9 a.m., enabling the release of emergency funds and fast-tracking rehabilitation efforts. "This is not just a weather event, it's a wake-up call," he said during a press briefing. Barangay officials, youth volunteers, and fisherfolk played key roles in the response. In Bangkal, 50-year-old fisherman Jaron Ideo used his boat to ferry stranded neighbors. "We've faced floods before, but this one felt different. The seawall helped, but the rain was relentless," he said. The emotional toll was profound. Children clung to soaked school bags. Elderly residents wept over lost heirlooms. Yet amid the devastation, stories of courage and solidarity emerged. Noria Sabay, 64, helped organize a communal kitchen in the evacuation center. "We may have lost our homes, but we haven't lost each other." Alfonso Bergadu, 87, recalled the 2011 flood. "Back then, we had no seawall, no dike. This time, the water came, but it didn't take everything." The September 13th flood has reignited calls for systemic reform. Creation of a permanent interagency flood control task force. Integration of upstream provinces into watershed management plans. Mandatory flood risk mapping for all barangays. Investment in smart drainage systems and real-time monitoring. Community-based disaster education tailored to evolving hazards. Experts warn that climate change will continue to amplify extreme weather events. Urban resilience isn't just about infrastructure. It's about governance, culture, and foresight, said Dr. Maribel Santos, a disaster risk reduction scholar. In the early afternoon of September 14, 2025, a rare and violent tornado tore through the municipality of Pamplona in Camarines Sur, Philippines, leaving behind a trail of destruction, stunned residents, and urgent questions about preparedness in the face of increasingly erratic weather patterns. At approximately 2:17 p.m. local time, residents of Barangay San Vicente noticed an unusual dark funnel forming in the sky. Within minutes, the rotating column of air descended, touching ground with a deafening roar. The tornado, classified preliminarily as an EF2 on the Enhanced Fujita scale, packed estimated wind speeds of 180 to 220 kilometers per hour and carved a path nearly 1.8 kilometers long through rice fields, residential zones, and school grounds. Eyewitnesses described the scene as surreal. "It looked like a giant black snake twisting from the clouds," said 62-year-old farmer Ernesto Alvarado, whose nipa hut was flattened in seconds. "I've lived here all my life. We've had typhoons, floods, but never this." Initial assessments by the Camarines Sur Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, PDRRMO, indicate over 120 homes damaged, 38 of which were completely destroyed. 2 elementary schools suffered roof collapse and shattered windows. Power lines snapped, causing outages in 3 barangays. At least 17 people injured, including 5 children. No fatalities reported as of 6 p.m. local time. The tornado also uprooted dozens of coconut trees and scattered debris across major roads, temporarily halting traffic and emergency response efforts. According to PAGASA, Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, the tornado was spawned by a severe local thunderstorm system intensified by a convergence of southwest monsoon winds and residual moisture from Tropical Depression Lani, which had dissipated days earlier. Tornadoes in the Philippines are rare but not unheard of, explained PAGASA meteorologist Dr. Selena Ramos. They typically form in localized convective storms, especially during the transition between wet and dry seasons. What made this one unusual was its intensity and proximity to populated areas. Within 30 minutes of the tornado's touchdown, local responders, including barangay officials, volunteer firefighters, and Red Cross personnel, mobilized to assist affected families. Evacuation centers were set up in Pamplona Central School and the municipal gymnasium, offering shelter, food, and medical aid.
Kadaan, stranded po ang mga motorista.
Mayor Elmer Villanueva declared a state of calamity by 4 p.m., enabling the release of emergency funds and fast-tracking relief operations. "We are shaken, but we are not broken," he said during a press briefing. "Pamplona will rebuild, stronger and wiser." While the tornado itself lasted less than 10 minutes, its impact revealed deeper systemic issues. Lack of early warning systems. Residents received no alerts prior to the tornado's arrival, relying solely on visual cues and word of mouth. Inadequate structural resilience. Many homes were built with lightweight materials, offering little protection against high winds. Limited disaster education. Few residents knew how to respond to a tornado, with some running outside or seeking shelter under trees, actions that could have proven fatal. Dr. Maribel Santos, a disaster risk reduction expert from Ateneo de Naga University, emphasized the need for localized hazard mapping and community drills. "We focus heavily on typhoons and floods, but climate change is expanding our risk landscape. Tornadoes, heat waves, even hailstorms, they're no longer anomalies." The emotional toll was palpable. Children cried as they clutched their soaked school books. Elderly residents stared at the ruins of homes they'd built decades ago. Yet amid the devastation, stories of courage emerged. Barangay Captain Liza Mendoza led a group of volunteers who rescued a trapped family from a collapsed bamboo house. "We didn't think, we just acted," she said, her voice hoarse from shouting over the wind. This is what bayanihan means. The Camarines Sur tornado adds to a growing list of extreme weather events in Southeast Asia that challenge traditional disaster paradigms. As climate models predict increased volatility, local governments must adapt not only their infrastructure but also their mindset. Experts call for integration of tornado risk into national disaster frameworks, investment in Doppler radar and real-time alert systems, community-based education tailored to emerging hazards, stronger building codes in rural and peri-urban zones. As dusk fell over Pamplona, the air was thick with humidity and quiet resolve. Families gathered in evacuation centers, sharing meals and stories. Volunteers swept debris from roads. Children played with makeshift toys fashioned from salvaged wood. The tornado may have come without warning, but the response, rooted in solidarity, resilience, and hope, was unmistakably Filipino.